Joining us now, Congressman Jeff Van Drew from House Homeland Security, along with former Deputy National Security Advisor, author of Revolution, Trump, Washington, and We the People, KT McFarland. Congressman, your reaction to what China's Xi Jinping is saying, that China doesn't want military hostilities. Where does this go now? What do you think about that call?
Well, hopefully that was honest. I have to tell you, very disappointed that the president didn't actually have a press conference, speak with the American people in a candid way. People are worried. They're concerned. This is a very serious issue, and all we get is a transcript. So that right off the start is something to be of concern. Secondly, you never can trust China. God knows what they're up to and what they're doing. And remember, as Russia fails, and in many ways they are now, look what's happening to the ruble, look what's happening to their economy, look what's happening to them with energy. That's only advantageous actually for China to pick up on all of this and, really try to set its eyes on being the number one nation in the world. So we've got to be careful. And you know what, Liz? This all comes from the stuff we've talked about before. When you portray weakness, the United States, the way we have in the last year, all these types of things have happened. I will tell you, If our last president, President Trump, was president, we would not have this situation in the Ukraine right now. That's where this all started.
Thank you. KT, what did you think of the talks? I mean, China's business with the U.S. and Europe is 10 times as much as Russia. But Putin is crazy by design. There's fears he'll just use a nuclear weapon. What do you think of what happened with China today?
Well, it's interesting. China's in this odd position because, as the congressman said, a conflict or a dust-up or even an economic war between Russia and Europe/the United States, who wins? China wins in that one. And China's made it pretty clear they're going to buy up all the energy that Russia has to offer, especially if it gets sanctioned or cut off from oil sales to the United States and to Europe. But the Chinese also are in an odd position, Liz, because they've married themselves to the Russians. At the beginning of the Olympics, they had this bromance and they had this sort of love letter between the two of them. It was a joint statement between China and Russia. And in the joint statement, they said, we are going to cooperate on everything. There's going to be no limit to our cooperation. And they each gave each other a nod. China, you can grab Taiwan, and Russia, you go for Ukraine. But now look what's happened. China wants to lead the 21st century, and it has every intention of doing that, but it also wants to be seen as deserving to do that. Now they're stuck with a pariah, a guy who a month ago, I'm sure, was busy saying to Xi Jinping, look, it's no problem. I'll be in and out in 3 days. I'll have Ukraine. Biden's a weak president. Don't worry about it. And now they're stuck. So China's got to find its way, I think, to distance itself.
Let's talk about what's happening at home. Congressman, to KT's point, China's stuck with Russia, but let's talk about what's happening here. Why the constant mindlessness of some people in D.C., including in the White House? Let's talk about this. The dollar is a powerhouse. It's a global reserve because of the powerful U.S. economy, and U.S. energy drives that. Wall Street warning undercutting U.S. energy will rattle the U.S. dollar status as a world currency. So, there's that, right, Congressman? Why the mindlessness in D.C. about that?
It's philosophical with them. They're not thinking with their brains at all. I don't really understand what they're doing. Literally, sometimes if you didn't know better, you would think the conspiracy. So destructive, so weak, has the potential of hurting literally the entire world's economy in many ways. Yeah. Certainly the United States, when the dollar is the currency that is used for energy. This is just a huge mistake. I just hope the American people realize the magnitude of the mistakes and problems that are being created by this majority Congress and this president.
Yeah. KT, Obama's top advisor, David Axelrod, said people don't believe the White House when they say it's Putin price hike, right? Let's watch President Biden. He campaigned on ending fossil fuels. Watch what's going on. Watch this.
It's going to go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's responsible. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies for either one of those, any fossil fuel. No more subsidies for fossil fuel industry. No more drilling on federal lands. No more drilling, including offshore. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period. Ends.
Okay, he said all that, right, KT? And the other thing, here's how they're stepping on a rake. The White House and Democrats are pursuing nearly 20 tax hikes on U.S. energy, including a tax on heating oil. Now Democrats are going to hold a hearing with half a dozen oil executives next month to try to shift the nation's anger away from Biden and rising gas prices to them. When from day one, the White House has put restrictions on U.S. energy. Oil soared 55%, gas up 40% under Biden before Putin invaded.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And it's a no-brainer. You know, if they really wanted to do in Vladimir Putin, pump American oil, drill American natural gas, export it to Europe. What would that do? It would get Europe off of Russian energy, and it would also drive the price way back down. What does that mean for Putin? He has one export: oil and natural gas, his energy exports. If his energy budget, if his resources, and he sells them at $130 a barrel of oil, let's say, what if that goes back down to $40 a barrel? He's broke. You know, wars are expensive. Occupations are even more expensive. He won't have the resources to continue to fight in Ukraine, and no bank is going to lend him any money. And I think the phone call with President Biden today was a warning to China. Don't you lend him any money either.
We hear you loud and clear. There's also this, Congressman. The Ukraine ambassador to the UN tore into his Russian counterpart, calling basically Putin a Nazi. Watch this.
Why has the Russian Federation decided to cosplay the Nazi Third Reich by attacking the peaceful neighboring state and plunging the region into war? What are the reasons and what is the plan? And yesterday we got the answer. Killing Ukrainian children, 108 innocent souls so far. Let me quote again: success in the strict accordance with the plans approved previously, according to Putin.
You know, and Congressman, Putin is trying to claim that there's Nazism in Ukraine. Ukraine is run by a Jewish individual. He's Zelensky. You know, the other thing that's going on, he's a kleptocrat. Putin is a kleptocrat. This is lifestyles of the rich and heinous. He has a 190,000-foot mansion on the Black Sea. It's got its own airport. It's got its own ice skating rink. It's also got its own theater. He hangs around with billionaire oligarchs who are stealing from the Russian people. They've got yachts. They've got planes in offshore, you know, in Aruba, Bermuda, the Cayman Islands, you name it. So this is what the people worldwide are seeing. Communism is a kleptocracy. You see it in Cuba, you see it in Venezuela, you see it big time in Russia.
Well, communism doesn't work, and this is an example of it. But worse than that, and what concerns me, particularly in Russia, I personally think that is somewhat insane. He's evil. He truly is the definition of a bad human being that's capable of anything, killing children, civilians, pregnant women, babies. I mean, I'm so disgusted by what he's done. And the danger is, as he's worked more and more into a corner, there is more and more of a danger of him going to extremes to try to strike. We have to be very careful.
Got it. Congressman Van Drew and KT McFarland, it's good to see you both on. Come back again soon. Next up, the danger.